If you're concerned about the future of your organization when you step down, then where will the mantle fall? A biblical and legal guide to succession planning is a must-read for you. It delves into the scriptural and legal aspect of succession planning, characteristics of successors, the people, the process, church bylaws, common myths, even issues with nepotism. Where will the mantle fall? Written by Richmond's own attorney, Pastor Sherina Travis, and available at Amazon.com. Looking to start a church, business, or nonprofit organization in 2022? Do you need help forming an LLC, applying for a copyright or trademark, revising church laws, crafting a succession plan, or developing a compensation package for your pastor and staff? Contact the law office of Sherina Travis, a Richmond-based legal boutique focused on the needs of pastors, entrepreneurs, creatives, and our community. Let's make your vision a reality in 2022. Visit TravellTravis.com. That's TRAVELL Travis.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the season premiere of year 3 of Mantle Mondays. I am privileged to be your host, Sherina Travis, and we're so glad you took time out of your schedule to join us as we're launching this 3rd season to interview entrepreneurs, authors, leaders, kingdom ambassadors. And so we invite you now to like, invite, share, tag. We're streaming on various Facebook pages as well as YouTube channels. And we believe that you are in for a treat on tonight. At one time, I considered after year 2 was over that would be the end. But the guest I have tonight compelled me to launch out into a 3rd season, not because she asked, but she's such a phenomenal person that I think it will be a great benefit to hear her story, her testimony that she shares on tonight. Normally, she is behind the scenes helping to produce this platform, but tonight she is actually the featured guest. So even if we're out a little practice, because it's been a while since we streamed, and because normally she's handling things behind the scenes, if we kind of get a little disjointed, we ask you to bear with us tonight. But she is the mother of all of my children. She has been my wife for 16 going on 17 years. She is the queen of my castle, the love of my life, my co-laborer in the gospel, my best friend, and newly minted with rights and privileges, doctor of educational leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, my wife, Dr. Sherina Travis.
Oh, bless
hey, wife.
Bishop. Bless you, Bishop.
How are you, Dr. Travis?
All right.
I am grateful to have you on tonight. And this is almost an example of a typical crazy day for you. I was with you this morning, 4 a.m. You get up for prayer. And then from prayer, 4 to 6, you get dressed, you take Maya to daycare. Then you're at school, an hour, half hour before school starts. You teach your full classes. And then you have meetings after. You actually have math SOLs tomorrow, and you're the chair of the math department. You get home, you prepare dinner, yeah. And now you actually are with me.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Travis, how do you do this? How do you do all of this?
It's hello. It's First, before I get started, I just want to say hello and thank you for allowing me to share. I have to do it like your other guests do it. For allowing me to be on your wonderful platform. I honor you, Bishop. So, all right, that's it. Now I'm talking to my husband.
I'm
I
just
just had to
honored
be,
that you accepted the invitation. I thought you would say no, but
yeah.
the fact that you said yes, I'm honored. So
Oh, so
so
how do
listen,
I do it? How do I
yeah.
do it? I literally I start every day with prayer. Every day with prayer. 4 a.m., 3 a.m. Um, and I start every day with prayer. And it is through prayer that I make my way through. Um, I literally do not feel sometimes everything that I do through the day throughout the day until probably about 10 o'clock or so at night when I'm decompressing underneath my weighted blanket. And then now I'll talk to you. Then my husband might say, hey, why are you sitting there shaking your head? And it's all of the events of the day that are going through my mind. So, um, it's nothing but the grace of God. And if you are watching, go ahead, like, share, tag someone in the comments and tell them to come on in. This is going to be good. I don't know what we're talking about. I didn't even get a chance to look at the questions yet because I've been so busy, but it's going to be good.
Yes. So many of you are aware that my wife graduated officially on Thursday with her doctorate in educational leadership. So a round of applause, congratulations to you for that outstanding accomplishment. And a lot of people just want to know, as I've already asked, how you do it. What are some tips? You've inspired so many from your students to your coworkers to those in the body of Christ, those in the community, those in the family. And so, even though I know you very well, I wanted to find out and maybe share what I know and bring out of you, some of the things that can maybe help somebody else who's watching tonight. This is not a marriage conversation. We'll do that some other time.
Hmm.
But I really want to talk to you about your career path, being a wife, a mother, a professional, a leader, both in the church and the school and the community, and just the way that God has graced you. We just celebrated Mother's Day on yesterday, and you're a phenomenal mother. And so, just want to give opportunity for people to learn more about you from a different aspect. So, your degree, what?
I have a question prior
Okay,
to. Are you sharing the? Are you on? Are you live from your page, your personal page?
we're on like 7 different pages.
Okay, because I've been trying to find it. I think I found it, so it should share it. But
Yeah, we're
it's
on
okay.
the
It's
where
okay.
would the we're on the church page, where would the mantle fall, don't eat the baby, law officer Chevelle Travis, building faith. So we're trying to cover the gambit
It's
tonight.
fine. It's fine. That's the
Okay.
producer and me coming out. Okay, go ahead. What?
So you received your doctorate. What is your doctorate in?
My doctorate is in educational leadership.
And what is the difference between, I guess you have a is an EDD. What's the difference in an EDD and perhaps a PhD?
The applied research versus original research.
Go a little bit further. Applied research meaning what does that entail?
So basically, I took a problem that currently exists and I came up with solutions to perhaps fix that problem in education versus coming up with my own thing to do. There was a current problem that's existing right now in a current school, and I did research on and came up with my own solutions on how to fix or remedy that problem.
Are you able to share what that problem is that you researched?
I mean, I can a little bit. Basically the scores were down, student academics was down, chronic absenteeism, and disciplinary issues, all of those things together. And so I came up with some solutions. Hey Q, Hey, Sister Jackie. All right, so I'm not going to look at the comments. I came up with some solutions on how to remedy that problem using parental involvement and instructional coaching, and came up with developed some my own programs to do that. And thank you all for your congratulations. I appreciate it.
So, what do you see as the key to getting children to learn? One of the things I've admired about you is that wherever you've taught, whether as a full-time teacher or as a teaching assistant, you've always been able to get kids to perform better than they performed before. Some who had never passed before. You've always had high test scores. What is the key to getting children to learn?
I think one of the things to getting students to learn is just I start off with motivation and getting to know kids. And what is the quote? Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Like my kids know that I care about them. Even though I'm hard on them, I'm I care about them and that's why I'm hard on them because the world isn't going to be easy on them. So why should I be? And um and then from that I build I usually take a week or so to build relationships with my students prior to, hey, how much do you know in math? How much do you how quick can you do your multiplication tables? Before I do that, I'm asking them what is their favorite sports. I'm asking them what are they into, what are their interests. We do a lot of team building, and this is the first or second week of school. And then I can build on content because now they're open to receive what I have to pour into them. So that's really been my foundation. And then that lasts throughout the school year. So I'll have students who have had me before, they'll come and say, "Hey, Miss Travis, I'm having a problem." And it's not even a math problem, it's a relationship problem. But because we have that relationship, they feel comfortable. So I become a safe space for them. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Now, when I first met you, education was not what you were interested in. You're a
Mhm.
Philly girl, born and raised. You know, you take pictures of the skyline every time you go home
Sure do.
because
Sure.
you love the beautiful tall buildings,
Yes.
and your dream was to have a prestigious job on the
In the
top
tall building.
floor of
Yeah.
one of those tall buildings.
Hmm.
And somewhere along the way, you kind of pivoted from that corporate job
Hmm.
to education.
Yeah.
What caused that pivot?
I don't know. I was a math major in undergrad. Yeah, they need to know that the teacher cares. That I was an undergrad and I was a math major. I got a bank job at PNC Bank, and I also was offered a job to run an after school program for youth, the after school center. And so in doing that, I helped kids with their homework. And so I it came natural to me. And then I started helping their parents, and that's where it changed for me. um their parents were like, "Hey, my kid's grade is getting better in math and getting better, and they're doing better in school. Do you think you can help me, because I decided to go back to school to get my GED?" And so I started tutoring them on the side, and then it became more and more more and more people, and I realized I got some satisfaction out of that. It was more fulfilling for me. And so then I kind of pivoted to education. And so that's how I ended up where I'm at today.
With so many teachers, you hear it across the news, especially after pandemic, has accelerated the number of teachers leaving.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you willing to stay in a profession that other people are abandoning?
That's a very good question, Bishop Travis. A very good question. What makes me willing to stay? Well, one, I have kids that are in the system. And so I want to be the type of teacher that I want my kids to have. And then furthermore, I have a 5-year-old. And honestly, if the state of education, if everyone leaves, then where is our future? Here's the other thing, the other part to it. Someday I'm gonna be older than what I am now. Some years down the line, I'm gonna need some help. Someday I'm going to need maybe possibly a nursing home, some doctors, surgeons, lawyers. And the state of education today, if we do not have teachers, quality teachers to stay and stick into this thing, then our doctors and our nurses won't know how to administer the proper meds because they won't know their math. Our lawyers and our police officers, everybody, just think about it will affect or impact our entire infrastructure. And so somebody has to stay and do the groundwork. Now, do am I saying I'm gonna stay and be a teacher always? I can't say that, but somebody has to stay and do the groundwork for our next generation because the rate at which teachers are falling away almost feels like a church. The saints are falling away.
Hmm.
But the rate of this slipping away, where is our next generation going to be in 15, 20 years? I can go to McDonald's now. No shade to McDonald's, but I can go to, let me say, a fast food restaurant or whatever now and give them, say it's $20.13, and I give them a $20 bill and a quarter, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to give me the correct
Right.
change. So that right there shows you a problem with where we are with just passing our students along. So somebody got to stay. Somebody got to stay. We
I,
can't all leave. You're laughing.
right.
I'm dead serious. We can't all leave because if we all leave, then we're gonna be screwed when we get older. I'm sorry.
But no, you're fine. No, you're fine. I want you to be you. You are you. That's why I'm interviewing you because you're
This is
you.
what it is.
So we know the pandemic caused damage to our children educational system. Do you see it as permanent, irreversible, or are you optimistic after this school year that perhaps there is some hope in the end?
I would say a little bit of authoring. All right, so here we go. Is it reversible? Yes.
Hmm.
The year prior to this year, I would say was chaotic because we were all trying to readjust to being around each other
Right.
and readjust. The kids were trying to readjust to being told what to do when a lot of our students were at home watching brothers and sisters. They were the adult in the home. And now you got to sit still, you got to be quiet, you got to pay attention when you could easily just get up, put your Zoom on, turn the camera off, and then
Right.
go get something to eat. So that part was a learning curve for our kids. Um, that part seems to be getting back to where it should. But prior to this, I think the pandemic just magnified some problems that already existed.
Hmm.
It's particularly with our minority students or with students who have low social and economic status. What I mean by that, they didn't have the internet. They couldn't do their work. They couldn't practice as much. Some people had parents who were at home who worked with them.
Hmm.
Some of our children need to come to school because they need that structure. They need that information. They need that consistency. It broke my heart. It broke my heart the week before we were released for the pandemic. We thought I was hyped. Okay,
Right.
just to be honest, I was hyped because I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a early spring break, and we're gonna be on spring break." I'm thinking it's just a week because at the time the governor said, "Okay, this is just going to be temporary, right?" And so I'm thinking this is just temporary thing. I finally get to get a break. And then here it comes the Friday before, and our school was absolutely crazy. because there were kids that were acting out because they didn't want to be home with
Right.
their abusive parents. There were kids who were acting out because they didn't know where their meals were going to come from. There were
Wow.
kids that were acting out because they were like, okay, now I know I'm really going to have to watch my siblings. Here, I get to be a child. At
Right.
home, I have to be an adult. So, those kind of things of having to make some of our children grow up faster than probably what they wanted to, I don't know if that's reversible. Um, Go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking you see that. You not only you see that, you feel that.
Mhm.
How are you able to not be crushed under the weight of everything you see and feel? It's
I
not
think
just test scores. It's
yeah.
not just test scores. Okay. I mean, because you do care. I know it weighs heavy on you. How are you able to not be crushed under the weight of what you see and feel your students experiencing both at school and the stuff you know they got to deal with at home?
That goes back to my first response.
Mhm.
I start every day with prayer. I don't carry it. So I literally, physically, emotionally, I don't. I take it to the Lord in prayer. Scores, fights, different scenarios, I take it to God in prayer. And it seems cliche, but literally that is how I make it through my day is I literally take it to God in prayer. That's the short and the long answer of it.
And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, when we talk about earlier, you mentioned parents at your first teaching assignment and working with the parents. I've witnessed where sometimes it seems like the parents are on opposing team from the teachers rather than working together. It's almost like, oh, that's your job, this is my job, stay out of my lane, you stay in your lane. Or the parent gets one version of the story and they automatically accept their child's version of the story and come at the teacher, or the teacher didn't get the grades in, teacher didn't teach this, the teacher didn't do that. How can parents, maybe a parent who's watching today, hearing you as a teacher, talk as a teacher, how can there be a better partnership between parents and teachers? And we hear in the news, today, this past election was about parental rights and who knows best about educating the child and raising the child, whether it's teachers or whether it's the parents. And both are committed to seeing the child succeed, but rather than seemingly work together, they work against each other. How can that partnership be strengthened?
It starts from the beginning of the school year and it cannot be just a one-time event. We can't just say, "Oh, we have parent night. Back
Mhm.
to school night at the school." Okay, great. And then you meet everybody and then you go home. Like it has to be
Mhm.
a continual thing. It has to happen throughout um the school year. I will say this. One joke that we have though is we gave
Mhm.
y'all the parents your kids back for the pandemic and they returned like this.
Right.
Like we gave you y'all kids and this is how they return, tearing up the schools,
Mhm.
tearing up the classrooms, fighting teachers, fighting each other because they stay home with y'all. Like that's a joke, but
Right.
honestly, in some way it's true. Some of our children have more order at school than they do at home, and that's just the honest truth. Now, how can you um keep this going? Like I said, it has to happen. And it has to be these are our kids. When I have my students, I call them my kids. And
Mhm.
I'd be like, my kids were crazy today, or my kids this, my kids that. And I'm not talking about the kids that I've actually birthed. I'm talking about the kids that come in my room. And when you think about it, hour to hour, it's
Mhm.
almost identical. We're right neck and neck, and might even be more
Mhm.
for the working parent or whatever, that I spend more waking hours. with your child while they're awake. I spend more time with your child while they're awake than you do during the year. So there has to be some type of, hey, I'm in it for your child's best interest and you're in it for your child's best interest. So let's communicate. So
So
there
that,
has to be communication and it comes from the top down. So yeah, go ahead.
no, so that's the school providing opportunities for the parents to be involved, but then a lot of times because of work or lack of interest, they're unable to attend some of those events.
Mhm.
So how do you, I guess,
And
bridge
ain't nothing. You could email somebody at
okay,
4 o'clock in the morning and have the
okay,
teacher email you back whenever they can.
okay,
And I've been known to email teachers or I'm not texting them, but I'll email them or give them a phone call and just say, "Hey, return this whenever you can." But there's some communication there. I'm not just MIA, just saying, "All right, here, just go raise my kid." And I'll just hope and pray that they turn out for the best. And then when it doesn't, now I
right,
want to get mad as a
right.
parent. It doesn't work that way.
And that can't, you can't wait for a crisis for that type of relationship.
Exactly what I just said. Yeah.
Right.
And when it doesn't work, then I can't get mad at the teacher when it doesn't work.
Do you
So go ahead.
no, no, no. Do you plan to
You
retire from
thought I was
education?
frozen.
No, 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 no. I'm trying to make sure I want you to finish your statements. So, do you plan to retire? I didn't say as a teacher. Do you envision yourself retiring from education
When? Just
whenever you retire, unless you
whenever
get
I
rich
retire,
quick?
sure.
When you retire, you envision it being from education at some level.
At some level, sure.
And where now that you have this doctorate degree, what are your career aspirations and plans? Like where do you want to go with this?
That's a very good question.
And so you don't want to.
That's a very good question. And I say that because I have so many
Options.
ideas.
You don't know which one to pursue.
No, um, no, I wouldn't say that, but I have so many ideas and aspirations. Um, so I would like to, I mean, at one point I wanted to write curriculum, like that was like my main goal, but then I've been a curriculum writer. Um, I wanted to coach teachers and incoming teachers, but that's what I do and what I will be doing. And I don't know. We'll see. I can't say that I necessarily want to be an administrator quite 100% yet, but I'm not ruling that out.
You feeling it, that's progress because it had been ruled out,
Oh yeah.
but now I'm maybe open. Open.
I'm more open to the idea now than I ever was. So.
Okay, good. And you mentioned a new position.
Oh,
You
and a college professor. I would like to teach college.
okay? So teach the teachers,
Mhm.
and also you've already worked on curriculum.
Mhm.
You mentioned um, perhaps being an administrator, but also you just received a promotion for this year.
That is correct.
Well,
I didn't know we were talking about that, but yes.
I didn't have it written down, but yeah, you will
Okay.
have a position this year where you'll be teaching or mentoring teachers.
Mhm. Yes.
That's good. Congratulations to you
Thank you.
on that position, Dr. Travis.
Thank you.
One of the things that I love about your teaching, not only is your care and concern about the students, but you're one of the most innovative individuals that I know. You know, most people can't think out of both sides of their brain. They're the right side or the left side. A lot of time, you know, a math person, it is what it is. 2 plus 2 is 4. It is what it is.
Mhm.
And then there's no creativity in terms of how it's taught or how to make it engaging or help the students to apply the information. And one of the things I think that makes you such a great teacher is
Thank
that
you.
it's not just, do I know my stuff and can I teach them the stuff, but can I relate to them culturally? Can I relate to them in a way, one also that lets them know I care, but also in a way that makes them interested in learning.
Mhm.
Where do you get this innovative teaching ability?
I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to take credit for it because it comes naturally. It comes naturally. Like literally when I was working with the youth at my home church in Philly, I'll be like, okay, well, let's learn VBS, let's do Bible study, but let's do it this way. We did like fear factor games to teach us how to walk by faith and not by sight. Like, what? So it just it comes naturally. It comes naturally. And that is um all I can say. I wish I could say, oh, I read this book
Mhm,
on innovative teaching strategies and all of that stuff. No, it comes naturally. I don't want to say I taught a sermon, not sermon, but I spoke yesterday at church. But in my mind, all I could see was the demonstration that I gave
mhm,
about taking no for an answer and how it weighs you down in your faith. That's all I could see. Then I had to come up with scriptures that would go with it. So that's what I'm saying. Like it comes naturally. It comes naturally. You could put me in a room and then say, "Hey, let's come up with a icebreaker. Or let's
mhm.
come up with a way to do this," and then give me 5 minutes, and I'm good to go.
And that's one of the things that I just is one of the jaw-dropping aspects of you as a professional, both in ministry and in education, that I'm always just like, wow, not only does she know her stuff, but the creative, innovative way in which you present it is just mind-blowing at times. And I know some of that comes in your prayer time, sometimes just in your consecration, God will just drop an idea and you'll implement it. I remember one time you shared about a student that never had passed before, and they were so surprised that the student passed that they thought somehow you
They
had
thought I
did something,
cheated.
thought right inappropriate, and you gave them the answer that you prayed, and God
Yeah.
gave you almost like the secret combination to the code to unlock that student's brain.
Hmm.
And so it's not a for you. I mean, not that you go in proselytizing, but there is no separation of church and state within you because prayer is the fuel that allows you to do what you do effectively.
Yep.
Now, one of the things that you have been cited for in the district was a initiative called Amazing Race.
Hmm.
Tell us about Amazing Race.
I should have looked at these questions.
What is this? Tell us about the first one you worked with Target, and then the second one you worked with who?
Okay, so I was tasked with involving the community in our learning. So I was supposed to put on this math night, and as I did it, I was like, okay, well, how can we take what students are learning in the classroom and apply it to real life? So the first one that I did was and made math night at Target, in which our students purchased items, but they had like riddles and things like that that I made up, that I created, um, that they had to solve or answer prior to purchasing these items. So they were given scenarios and they had to, along with their parents, and that's one thing that I enjoyed is their parents came out, along with their parents, figure out how much they had a budget, had to figure out how much money they could spend on a particular item, using certain coupons, using certain percentages off, different things like that. So that was um I forget what year it was, but that was that one year. And then the second year, my principal um, challenged me to do something bigger. So we expanded and we took over our entire, I guess you would say, mall. I used the same concept, but we involved the entire school, not just math, in the entire school. So every single subject you could think of. And we had business interviews going on in Office Max. We had the um, art department doing art along with employees in Michaels. We use Target. We use not KNG. We use Target. We use the one that I liked was PetSmart because our kids in the science they had to come up with the scientific name for the animals that you see in PetSmart, and they did little demonstrations there. We used JCPenney. So yes, we took the what we learned in the classroom and we put them in the real world, and that was amazing. And
And
we
this
used
was
the theme Amazing Race, and all that came from the fact that I liked the TV show Amazing Race. Where it came from that. Like literally, I was watching Amazing Race, and then maybe within a week, it was like, oh, we could do this, and then we'll add this, and then we'll do this, and
so there was no book, no manual, no YouTube video. This was all something that had never been done in the district,
no.
and now others want to figure out how to do what you did.
I mean, I guess.
So let me, and we're going to pivot from education, but you mentioned parents,
Mhm.
and then Amazing Race, you mentioned business, and perhaps even the community. Mantle Mondays, we talk to leaders, authors, entrepreneurs, as a faith-based audience. How can the church help fill in the gaps when it comes to education?
I would.
Sometimes it's almost like we've been hostile towards education, but it seems like we're missing out on a great opportunity to perhaps fill in the gaps. How do you see, as a first lady, as a educator, how would you like to see the church in particular fill in the gaps when it comes to education?
Be involved. They don't have to come to your church. They don't have to become members of your church. It's not about, and this goes back to what I said earlier, it's really about our future. So if we are preparing people for the rapture, why can't we help prepare them naturally for the future? And in preparing them for the future, we have to be involved. What do I mean by that? Go to the schools, ask them. There is no school. Let me say it again. There is no school that will turn you down from volunteering. There is none. We are begging for volunteers. Teachers are stretched thin. Sometimes we just need extra bodies, supplies.
Volunteer to do what? I mean, I guess
I'm
this.
going down the list right now.
Okay.
Supplies,
Hmm.
tutors,
Hmm.
um, be engaged, be a mentor. We have a church that comes into our school or used to come into our school for the young men just to have men to talk to because they didn't have anybody at home. We got men at church, but you don't want to. You waiting for the young guys to come to your church? Why not go to them? And so we need to stop making everything about church, church, church. Oh, they need to come to me. They need to come to me. When Jesus said,
Hmm.
"Go into all the world," he ain't say wait for them to come. He didn't say, "Oh, pray for them to come to you." He said, "Go into all the world." And so, if all the world is a part of this, if the school is a part of all the world, then we got to go there too. And so that's just being an extension and helping hand. There are teachers who could use, like I said, an
Hmm.
extra body in the classroom. You have no idea what an extra adult standing in the hallway will do because they kids know, okay, well, if nobody's standing here, then I can get away with it. But if an extra adult is standing here, not even that the adult has to say anything, but there's just an extra adult presence. So
You just
um,
call the principal. You just show up and knock on the door. Like, how do you even begin that conversation?
You can go to, I don't know how everybody who's watching how their school district works, but you can go to the school and you have to get some type of clearance because we can't just let every Tom, Dick, and
Right.
Harry come up in
Right.
there.
Right.
But you can get some type of clearance and then ask them what they have need of.
Hmm.
And then they will tell you. They
And
will
then
tell you,
match.
okay, we need
Right.
feminine products.
Right.
They'll tell you, we actually have a clothing store in our school so that kids can come and get clothes because so they won't have to wear the same clothes every day, all day. Every day, every week. That's what I meant. Every day, every week. We have some kids that prior to this were coming to school, same hoodie, same shirt, same pants. And kids were making fun of them. Why? Obviously, if you wear it, you're not
Right.
washing your clothes every single day. But through this closet, they're able to change their clothes. They're able to get their clothes washed. They're able, you know what I'm saying? So it's just about it, everything can't be. And then through that, through being the hands and the feet of Christ, we draw them in that way.
Right. Right.
Everything doesn't have to be, oh, you come into my space.
Right.
This is not the early 2000s MySpace. You don't have to come into MySpace. It's like going to all the world. Come on now. Okay. I'm sorry. This is your show.
No, no, no. I want you to your passion and you're educating us. The numbers are going up as
Oh, Jesus.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
y'all go somewhere else.
So I invite you to like, share, invite, tag anybody that knows Dr. Travis, anybody who's in education, a parent who has children in school, a pastor who's trying to figure out how to engage in the community. You know, look at the schools that are in your zone, the elementary school, the middle school, the high school. Contact them. Do you know them? Do they know you? And as Lady Travis said, not to come up with some scheme to get you to come to church, to join the church, but just as the hands and feet of Jesus representing Christ in the community. If, if we're not willing to help the children in school and the parents of those children who are in school, who better to help than, yeah, that's an investment, as you said even earlier. That's just an investment in all of our future.
Listen, because you let them teachers, the good ones,
Hmm.
the bad ones, but the good ones,
Hmm.
let them good teachers leave and see where your kids end up.
Right.
They need support. Teachers need support and see where our future will go. It really is what the foundation. That's really what we need. Is we need communication and we need community.
I love that. Somebody put that in the chat. Communication and community. Well, I mentioned that you, first lady, you
Am
have
I?
served
Oh,
first
that's right.
lady, leading lady. You have served with me as the leading lady of City of Refuge in Richmond, Virginia, since its inception. We're coming up on our 14th church anniversary next month. Young first lady, you were 25 when you uh, yeah first started, and yeah, God has been good. God has been gracious. Um, what are the rewards and challenges? And probably a whole separate segment. But
Yeah,
what
you're
would you say is the probably the greatest reward or greatest challenge you've had to deal with being a leading lady in 2023 or
right.
in this era?
I do want to acknowledge. I don't know who that was, but coaching a team is also a great way to get involved with your child's school. Um, what are the rewards and the challenges? I would say I'm gonna go this the teacher route.
Because you're young, and I say this, you're young, but you've been in it long enough to where people who are older but newer come to you
Yeah,
for advice. And
yeah.
so they come to you as Nicodemus by night, but while you have this platform, kind of what advice or like you said, what are some of the rewards? Some people seek the platform. What would you want them to know? But then also with the negative, I imagine there are some rewards. What would you want people to know?
All right, so the rewards, I would say, is probably similar to my students. The rewards that I see, hey Joven, the rewards that I see with my students is seeing them grow
Hmm.
and mature, and not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Seeing people grow and mature and change, and that just always amazes me. How God can take someone who was one way and then change them, not change, but they evolve into being something else. And my life, I just look at that and see the same thing. So that would be the some of it, is that would be the reward for me. And the challenge um would be a challenge of being a first lady,
What have you found to be the most challenging?
that I can't say what I want when I want to. You asked.
Right. I mean, that's probably the answer. Everybody else can say what they think and feel, and you're supposed to take it. But you say what you think and feel, they gonna try to burn the church. So right. And for a person who uh, you know, hasn't always bit her tongue, I imagine would you say that's probably the one area where you had to grow and adjust the most over time?
Oh yeah. I remember I remember one time when I wanted to go to church. I went to church and I wear sneakers. Y'all that know me, you know I wear sneakers and skirts. But I went to church with sneakers and Vaseline because I was ready, okay? And it wasn't going to be no praise and worship that day. It was going to be some laying on of hands, and it wasn't going to be by him. So it really, I don't know what you did. I don't know what you did because I didn't tell you my plan. I don't know what you did that day to make my anger go away. But I think I ended up like going downstairs or going in another room
Mhm.
while you were preaching or something like that. But nobody got hands laid on that day. So they were spared. But it was coming. It's
Right.
real. Q is real. Like, why sugarcoat it? I mean, for real. That day I came laced up, ready. And I was like, whatever it's going to be, if this the end of the church, I don't care. But I'm going out. I'm not going out like that.
So now I find you about to blow it up. You ain't ready to shoot up the church. Oh,
Like,
Jesus.
hey yo,
But I
listen.
think that all goes back to that prayer time
Yeah.
because
But let me say this though. You talking
yeah,
about prayer time. I can't say that I
at that
prayed
time.
that day before I went to
Right.
church. I already had it in my mind Saturday night what was going to happen. Sleeping next to you, what was going to go down the next morning. I already knew.
But thank God. Philly was ready to show up in Richmond. Philly was ready to show up in Richmond, but thank God he's giving you the grace and to be able to take those things and um so how so do you just swallow it now or do you transfer it? When I say transfer it, meaning is it a certain level of natural and spiritual maturity where you just like, I just turn it over to the Lord, I just don't worry about it no more? Or is it the the longer you're in it, people learn to respect you more? Like, what would you say has probably or led to
I'm
the
still
change of what?
asking the Lord to season my words.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I just say what I want to say. And then there are times that I say things and I'm careful about what I say, but it still comes off strong. I don't know how that happened. I really don't. I be thinking I'm giving you sugary words and you crying. Like what? So I'm still asking the Lord, uh I guess he just got to work on me with that, or work on the people who are receiving it, whatever. But I would say it's a combination of growth and maturity and prayer. I mean, that just in general. Like,
Right.
I'm not ready to pop off and fight everybody, just in general. So that's a part of my evolution. Like, cause I would just, I mean, the cashier, you did what? Like,
Right.
and now it's just like, oh, all right. And I mean, you pushed me a couple times, but
And
all
you're
right.
probably more like
Next
that when it
question.
comes.
Next question.
I'll say this. I think what I've seen is you have a higher tolerance level when it comes to you, but when it comes to me or the kids, I don't know. But
That's it. That's it. That's
but
it.
it was another thought I had related to
So
that.
the next
But so
question.
we'll move on
Yes, let's
from
take
there.
because I feel something rising up in me.
Flash, flash. Oh, I know what it was. The seasoning. I said when you're talking about you think it's seasoned, that someone might not think it's seasoned. I maybe think about that's a marriage conference conversation where you said I'm lightly seasoning the food, and I'm like, um, another dimension you need to bring it down.
Yeah.
But not only are you the first lady, leading lady of City of Refuge Way the Cross Church in Richmond, Virginia, the Lord also has blessed you to birth your own ministry, building faith community. Um, how did that happen? And where do you plan? Where do you see God taking it?
That's a good question. Um, hey everybody, like I'm seeing all the comments. Hey y'all. Um, where did that come from? There was that after COVID? I think it was after COVID. After I my family and I contracted COVID in 2020. There was a space and period and time in my life where the Lord just told me, you don't have faith in me like you should. And I was like, God, what? Like, we just came out of this. What you mean? And he was like, I want you to go on a fast and I'm gonna show you what faith really is. And it wasn't like, what I enjoyed about the fast is it wasn't, oh, I'm fasting for something, or I'm fasting for a job, or I'm fasting for the Lord to heal my body. No, it was for the Lord to show me me. And my God, I did not have the faith that I thought I had. Like, it was all lip service or out of routine that I thought I had faith in God. And then just to realize that um without faith it's impossible. Impossible. Like, you can't. Like, there is no way. Like, there is no way that you can please God without faith. So if I want to please God, then going to church, then reading my word, then handing out tracts, then being the arms and feet and the hands and feet of Jesus, all of that was for naught if I ain't have faith.
Wow.
So that really, like, okay, well, if I want to please God, which I do, then I need to have faith in God. Well, then if I need to have faith in God, then I need to find out what faith is so that I can have it. So going on that journey, and I'm still on that journey, and shout out to all the faith builders in the house. Um,
Tuesday nights at 8:30.
huh?
Tuesday nights at 8:30.
Tuesday nights at 8:30. Yeah. So not only I'm still on the journey, but it has increased my faith. It has strengthened my faith in God. It has opened my eyes, just being on this faith journey. And so the second part of that question is, where do I see it going? Wherever God wants it to go. we started out like literally, I started this out as a challenge to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had not planned. I had not planned for this to be what you called it, a ministry. Um, so I literally was 2 days before the challenge. I said, okay, I'm gonna just post it on Facebook and see if anybody wants to join me on this 28-day challenge. And I was like, hey, I'm going on a challenge for 28 days. This was the post. I'm going on a challenge 28 days to totally trust God, and to build my faith. Anybody want to join me? Then it was like 10 people. Oh, okay. So how we going to communicate? Let's do a group. Then every day for 28 days, we came on and taught from a scripture. And then it became 50 people. And
Mm-hmm.
they started inviting people. And then we did another challenge. And now it's like 250 people in the group. So wherever God wants it to go.
So the conference through the retreat is forthcoming.
Wherever God wants it to go.
The publications are forthcoming.
Wherever God wants it to go. Let's keep going.
So you're an educator, you are a leading lady at a church, you have your own ministry, but you're also an entrepreneur. I believe 2 years ago you released a business, launched a business, Seek to Excel.
Mm-hmm.
What does that name mean? And what is Seek to Excel, and how did you derive those innovations?
Seek to Excel is a Rebus merchandise company. Basically, I like t-shirts and I like puzzles. So I like things that you have to figure out. Um, and so I came up with my own merchandise and my own designs, and that's what it is. And where did it come from? It came from my hey, building faith people. All right. It came from my grandfather, the late Bishop John E. Williams. He always taught us as young people that we should seek to excel, and not only seek to excel in the world or in the natural, but also whatever we obtain in the natural, that we bring it to um, the house of God and to build up the saints or to build up or perfect the church. So my creativity that you were talking about earlier, I applied that to the shirts. Now, and people have used it as a witnessing tool, um, and just to be billboards for Christ, and that's kind of what it is. I've kind of
Uh,
been on a hiatus as I finished my dissertation, but there are new designs coming and dropping soon. So stay tuned.
Great. So those who are watching, Seek to Excel merchandise, I think you can even subscribe to her uh, fan page. Your fan page,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. You the text for when the new drops, new merchandise, and so forth. We're getting ready to wrap up this conversation, but there's a couple more questions. So in addition to being an educator, having leading lady, having your own ministry, being an entrepreneur, you also serve as the second vice president of the International Youth for Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as the second vice president,
And this is what happens
not
when
right now.
two parents are on live at the same time with a 5-year-old in the
So,
house.
so you are the so I served as youth president for 12 years.
Yeah.
You served with me even before that when I was second vice president. I served as second vice for 19. We've
Hmm.
been friends for 20. You served with me for the 7 I was second, the
Uh-huh.
12 I was president. I'm thinking I'm riding off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And then you say, hold up, I think I got something to do.
Uh-huh.
What prompted you to say now is my time to serve after having served not just as a position holder? I mean, you actually labored with me with committees, altar work, in your own respect. What made you say, I feel called to serve in this capacity too?
Again, this is what happens when you have a 5-year-old and both parents are on live at the same time. I was not talking to you, I was talking to her. She came up here. Okay. So your
So to
question.
negotiate with me, she went to negotiate with you. And we
Mhm.
both told her to wait until the
Yeah.
live was over.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So this is what happens when you try to put parents against each other. All right. So your question, sir. What made me run? Is that what your
Yeah.
question was?
Basically.
That's exactly what she said. That's exactly what she said. Oh, I didn't get what I wanted from daddy, so let me go to mom. Mm. Parents, don't let your children put you against each other. That's a lesson. Okay.
But she timed it right well. It's 8 o'clock, so I guess that's our
You
wind
did
up
good.
cue. So we
You did
we'll
good.
take our
No, no. So your question,
yeah.
why did I run? I mean, I was asked to. I was asked to. I've worked in every area of second vice president since I was helping you or even before you. Um, so I've done all of those things. So I was kind of like, all right, so why can't I? Um, and that's the long and the short part of it. Yeah.
So let me ask this. You clearly both in the church and in the secular, you have a compassion
For young
for
people.
young people.
Hmm.
When you see the church and we're seeing the declining interest in attendance of young people in church, as well as willing to serve in church. Used to be just people wanted to serve, people
Hmm.
wanted to get involved. Now everybody wants to be served but not served. When you look at our attendance, you look at the demographics, the younger demographic isn't represented the way it should be.
Hmm.
How do we reverse this trend?
Communication and community.
That
It
works
doesn't,
also in the church.
it doesn't have to
Communication
be
between
separate.
who?
It does not have to be a separate thing. It's nothing that I'm saying about education that can't be used in the church.
Mhm.
It's nothing that I'm saying about church that can't be used in education. So that's probably why I don't feel like I do a lot because I'm doing the same thing just in different arenas. So you see what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I'm teaching, whether I'm teaching in the classroom or whether I'm teaching Bible study or whether I'm teaching teachers, I'm doing the same thing but just in different arenas or using or wearing different hats. So communication and community. If I don't feel a part, why would I want to be a part?
Right.
If you don't talk to me except for when you're talking about me, why would I want to come here? So if you don't think I'm valuable or I have anything to add, then why would I want to come? One thing that I try to do in my classroom is make an entry point for everybody.
Mhm.
So whether you are an advanced student or whether you are 2 or 3 grades below grade level, you're 2 or 3, yeah, grades below grade level. I try to make sure that you have an entry point. So whether this your first time in church or you've been here on the first row for
Mhm.
25 years,
Mhm.
it's important that everybody has an entry point. How do we do that? Through communication. We have to talk to one another. You can't just assume that somebody knows. You can't just brush over things anymore. This generation, we want to know. We want to know why. We want to know where did it come from. Not that we're being judgmental, not that we're being critical, but gone are the days where you could just tell us something and we
Mhm.
just take it for face value just because. You're
Right.
talking about people who are learning, who, not to say that the old saints weren't educated, but we are gaining knowledge everywhere else.
Mhm.
But you don't want us to gain knowledge in church. You just want us to believe what you say because you said it. Like, what? Where they do that at? Really? And what other sector do they do that?
Right.
When I go to when I'm teaching, I have to learn how to teach, and then they put me into a classroom, and then somebody with somebody who's a teacher,
Hmm.
and I become a student teacher. Then you have a teacher mentor. Then you have a community of teachers. Then you have new teacher academy. You go through all of these things, but in church, we want you to go through, oh, this your first day in the door, to missionary wearing all white and purple flowers. Like, what? That
Hmm.
don't work like that. And just because you said so.
I love it. I love it. That's why I love you. I love it and I love you. We're gonna wrap it up.
You said on that note,
No,
let's
no, no, no. I got my
leave.
time, and I'm down on my question. I'm ready to come to the end. Uh, you come from a lineage of leaders. Your great grandmother, Sadie Williams, was national president of the missionaries. Your grandfather, the late Bishop John Williams, was Youth for Christ president and vice presiding bishop. Your grandmother, Mother Cecilia Williams, national missionary president. Your dad is national deacon board chairman. And you would think it when you hear it, you're like, well, maybe they're just a small organization. No, it just literally. There was a time where we would have Thanksgiving, and you had the vice bishop, the president of the missionaries, the president of the deacons,
And the
and the
president of you,
president of the
right?
youth, all at the same table.
Yeah.
all at the same table. Uh, so my question to you, in general and specifically to you,
Mm,
are leaders born or made?
that's a good question. Tune back tomorrow.
Because on one hand, it's in your DNA, but on the other hand, you've made it your own.
Yeah, I've made it my own, but I was given opportunities though. I
Okay.
would say that. Um, I was given opportunities. And what I mean by that is my grandfather, we had a junior ushers board, and he put me over that. Then I was helping with the youth. And then it was like, okay, well, come up with some events for the youth to do. Okay. Like, so in that process, I think it takes a leader to recognize a leader.
Hmm.
And even when I didn't know I was a leader, I was still being called out as one. Ooh, that's good. I need to say that again. But what did I just say? All right. What did I just say? When I didn't know,
Right, right,
when I
right.
didn't know I was a leader, I was recognized by the leader and called out as a leader. When I didn't even recognize I was a leader then. And same thing. I keep going back and forth. In school,
Hmm.
I was in fourth grade, and it took the teacher, my fourth grade teacher, Miss Williams. Thank you, Miss Williams. It took my fourth grade teacher saying, "Hold on, this child is getting this math
Hmm.
way faster than
Hmm.
everybody else." So she said, "Come here one day." She said, "I want you to do this math problem and just play around with it, see if you can get the answer." She didn't tell me, she didn't stress me out or anything like that. I did it within 5 minutes. She said, "Okay, take this problem." That was fifth grade work. She said, "Take this problem." Then she goes up to the other level of the school. It was 3 floors. Goes to the other level of the school and says, "Hey, I need some work. I want to see something." Next thing I know, I'm doing eighth grade math work, and not even realizing that I'm doing eighth grade math work. It took a leader to recognize that it was something in me that she could cultivate. Then
Wow.
she's like, "Okay, well, this school
Hmm.
is too small for you. You're already doing eighth grade work. This only goes to eighth grade. I have nowhere else to put you, and you're only in fourth grade. I need to recommend you to go to the top school in Philly." She recommends me, I get in, and now I'm in 5th grade doing algebra 1. I'm in 6th grade doing this. And next thing I know, I was put into a place where I could build my capacity. That capacity that I didn't even know I had. Same thing in the church. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it took somebody to recognize, oh, this person has potential. This person has the capacity to be a great leader. So, not that I'm jealous of them, not
Mm-hmm.
that I'm envious of them, but let me train them, see what they can do, and then put them in a space where they have no choice but to expand, no choice but to grow, no choice but to build upon all the things that I've already taught them. So,
Wow.
born, made, however you want to say it, but you got to be recognized and then put into a place or a space in which you can grow.
I'm blown by that because I'm just thinking about what I know
You're
about your
blown
life.
by that?
Right.
Oh,
Yes.
I gotta
Because
go back and watch this.
I'm thinking about the teacher, but I'm also thinking about you being in charge of the PAL summer camp. I'm thinking about you being this assistant manager at KFC. I'm thinking about how your grandfather allowed you to teach the Bible study at Westchester, which was preparation for you now doing building faith community. Thinking about even the principal
Gospel
who
choir vice president. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
the principal that allowed you to do the Amazing Race 1 and Amazing Race 2. But every time you've been called to the plate, God has graced you to hit a home run.
Yeah.
And so I thank God. So I think there has to be, like you said, something in you, but then also has to be someone who identifies it and help cultivate it and encourage and promote. And I guess you would even say, throughout this journey, the importance of having the support team to get your doctorate and to do your professional things. Is there anything that you would say to somebody who's watching that how you can be a better support to a spouse or a child who's trying to do something that maybe they're unsure that they're capable of doing?
How can you be a better support?
Right,
How
because
can you just be a
one of the
support?
things you talk about, I guess, when you get in your to juggle it all, time management and support team.
Mhm.
So for somebody who's want to better support their spouse, what would you say would be the what would you say is the biggest thing that someone could do to improve being on their support team?
You're gonna be mad at me for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Why would I be mad at you? I asked you the
Cause,
question.
cause watch. Communication and community. That's why I say you gonna be mad. I ain't giving you nothing new. I'm just giving you the same thing to answer different questions. Communication and community. What do I mean by that? You have to be able to communicate. One thing that I appreciate about you is there were times that I was like, man, forget this. Literally, forget this. Literally within the last year, forget it. I ain't doing this no more. I'm gonna just take a break. And you like, Sherina, why? You're just so close. Like you right here at the finish line. I ain't submitting this paper no more. If this lady tell me that I'm declined one more time, that's it. Like I was ready to drive the Lynchburg or wherever this lady was at. My mom was too. So that's where I get it from, I guess. But so communication and community, you had to go ahead and spit back my goals or my aspirations back to me, along with so many other people that are watching. Sonia, like my friend Sonia, who's watching, building faith community, the people who have prayed for me. I didn't get here by myself. Community, that's what I'm talking about. Community, like I could not have made it here by myself, because there were times that I wanted to quit. There were times that I had enough Red Bulls. I couldn't drink Red Bull anymore to keep me up. I had enough Sour Patch, whatever candy I was eating or whatever. And I had to call my sisters and just laugh on the phone because I needed a break. Communication and community. I had to know that I wasn't there by myself. Thank you, Dr. Lewis, Dr. Alan Lewis, because he was a couple of steps ahead of me And he's like, no, no, no. I was like, man, forget it. That's good. I'm glad you got approved. I ain't going to get approved no time soon because this is what's going on. These are all the obstacles that I'm facing. And he's like, all right, well, let me talk to my professor because your professor isn't giving you anything. So it took him having him talking to his professor that didn't even know me, but giving me any communication that he received from his professor, he would forward it to me and say, all right, well, I don't know if you know this, but and vice versa. So communication and community. There were times that I had to communicate to you, all right, I can't do this. Like, I'm done. I'm spent. And then there were times during those times, sometimes you said, go ahead and keep pushing. And then there were other times that you said, straight up, just take a break. Stop writing. Stop editing. Stop doing this. And it was times that I had to go to my community and just say, hey, I just want to be Sherina. I don't want to be Sherina the student. I don't want to be Sherina the teacher. I just want to chill and just know that I'm supported. And so, yeah, that's how I made it is communication, community. And I had to be honest with myself and honest with you, honest with the kids. Hey, mommy has 2 hours. I can play with you for 2 hours. And then I have to go back and write. Or I'll come home from the library, but then I have to go back to the library for round 2. And so it's really, I don't stand here by myself.
That's the thing I reflect on. I think about when you were pregnant, and I guess it was pregnancy fog and deadlines, and you just like, I can't do it. You couldn't do it. And so, I mean, you've experienced, death in family, pregnancy, major surgery, all these things. But by the grace of God,
Major surgery, deleted my paper, forgot to turn in a piece of my paper because I was on heavy medication and almost lost a whole semester. Like, I didn't get here by myself. Let me stop before I start.
no, that's testimony the grace of God, because I mean, yes, you made it. You have crossed the stage, bars, uh, medallions, uh, I would say ropes. They don't call them ropes.
Okay, cords.
There you go, cords, everything. And I've shared with you a 20-year journey, and to see you both excel academically, professionally. I met you, for those watching, I met her freshman year. Well, I knew her before, but became friends with her freshman year of college. And to see this journey, both spiritually, academically, and professionally, I am grateful that I get to do life with you, and that I'm able to get a front row seat to where God is taking you, what He's doing through you, and to be able to support you as you continue to seek to excel and excel in the things that God has placed in your charge and your care. We're going to wrap up here. If you would like to be a blessing, I know it's my wife and she don't want me to do this, but we do this for every guest. If you like to sow into the guest, the cash up is across the bottom. If you would like to sow into to her ministry, graduation gift, birthday gift, however you want to do it. I'm gonna ask you a fun question, then a serious question, then I'll get you to close us out with prayer.
Okay.
Ice cream. Die hard Philadelphia
I'm trying to
sports.
answer the fun question.
You're a diehard Philadelphia sports fan. We saw the Phillies.
Watch it here.
I'm just saying they came short in the World Series back in October. The Eagles made it to the Super Bowl, came short in the Super Bowl in February. Yesterday, the Sixers came short in the playoffs. This woman's such a diehard Philadelphia sports fan that 9 months pregnant, this woman went to the Super Bowl parade to celebrate the Eagles.
Joe
Waddling, swollen feet, everything. I am driving to watch this parade for
But
my
I'm sick
Eagles.
at work. Yeah.
Right. Which one of those sports teams, and I guess you throw in with the Flyers, the hockey team, which team is going to be the first to win the next championship for the
The
city?
Eagles.
All right. She's on the record. Eagles in 2024.
So let me ask you this. You have all those teams. Which Virginia team?
See. I played nice. I played nice. I played nice.
No, I'm sorry, Bishop. Which
I
Virginia
played
team
nice.
is going to make it
I
to
didn't.
a professional league?
I played nice.
Huh?
I just played
Huh?
nice. I just asked the
Oh, I
question.
have it on record.
See.
Huh?
I asked nicely because you had two of them to make it to the
Thank
championship,
you.
one in the playoffs.
Oh, we
I just
still talking about this question.
wanted you to use
We
your
still talking though.
your prophetic gift to say,
Quiet squirrels, right, Sherelle?
see which parade you going, see, maybe just delete the whole, see, we were doing so good. So good. So good. Got all the way to the end. I'm trying to land on a light heart, and bam, you ain't even got no team. What in the world?
Now, Saints, y'all didn't hear me say you don't even got no team. I just asked you which Virginia
That's a
team.
teacher question type question where you ask the question
Which
knowing the
Virginia
answer.
team was gonna make it?
See. All DC teams are Virginia teams.
I'm sorry, which Virginia team?
DC teams are Virginia teams. But anyway, we'll move on. We cut the interview. It's over. Edit, crop. Take out thing. You can't attack the host. Talk about going left. Anyway. So my last question, and then I'm going to give you opportunity to give last words to those watching, and close us out with prayer.
Oh, Jesus, I gotta pray. Okay.
We got to do the prayer too. We said wife, mother, entrepreneur, author, educator, ministry, youth officer, sports fan, cook. You go on and on and on and on and on. When your I say great grands, perhaps read about you. Your great grands hear about you. What about you would you want them to know and remember about this legendary Dr. Sherina Travis?
You think I'm legendary?
A legend in the making, because I'm thinking about how you hear stories about your grandma Sadie.
Yeah.
So that's your great grandmother.
Right.
So then when your great grands come along and they hear about their great grandmother, Dr. Sherina Travis, what aspects of your life would you want them to know about you? Or how would you want them to, well, they wouldn't remember you, but how would you want to be remembered, and how would you want them to know you or know about you?
How would I want them to know about me? What would I want them to know? You want to know the first thing that came to my mind? I don't think. The first thing that came to my mind was she tried to please God and everything that she did, and she was the same everywhere she went. Like, it's not going to be no church Sherina and education Sherina, or Philly Sherina and Sherina that lives in Virginia, sports fan Sherina. Like, the same way I scream and I cheer watching the game is the same way if you come to my church. It is. It's the same way that I scream and I cheer for Jesus. The same way that I scream and I cheer for my students when they pass their tests. I'm the same John. Like, I don't know how else to. That's it, right there. Put that on a memorial. She's the same John, and just hashtag that.
But you, well, I ain't gonna pick on you about this since you don't know where
No,
you.
I said put it on a memorial. I didn't say put it on a tombstone. The same. I'm the same John. I might not be the same Sherina in middle school that was cutting up and cursing out teachers, but I'm the same. I'm consistent everywhere I go. I'm God has changed me and I'm evolving, but I'm still the same John. That's it. That's a word for me. The same John. I need to put that on a shirt.
Yeah, Quantel, that's a Philly term. Somebody spelled it John. No, it's Jawn. That's the correct.
JAWN. Look in the dictionary. It's in there.
It's a
It's a
Philly word.
person, place, or thing.
Yeah, Philly word.
So,
Well,
so we say, "Hey, I just met the John, and we was going to the John, and then we picked up the John. I just met this girl, and we were going to the store, and we picked up something." That's what that means.
you should hear her teach Bible study. I always call it the urban translation. Same personality. She preached yesterday in my stead on for Mother's Day. Same personality. When she's interacting with her students, they back up off her because they know she's quick with the tongue, and she'll set them straight very very quickly.
I'm the same girl. I'm the same girl. It's just a girl that is evolving into everything that God wants her to be. That's good to me. Whew.
Thank you, Dr. Sherina Travis, for allowing me this privilege to interview you. Next week, we'll have Pastor Jonathan Mintz, who is the current youth president for the Way of the Cross Church, and the pastor of Faith Tabernacle in Columbia and Stand for Christ in Orangeburg, will be with us. And then we have other guests that we will send out the information about in the future. If you'd like more information about Mantle Mondays, you can text the word mantle to 833-450-0056. We invite you once again to like, invite, share, tag, maybe send this to somebody that just wants some positive entertainment, some inspiration. This interview has been a blessing to me, and I'm sure it has been a blessing to you. So I'm going to dip out. And I'm going to let Dr. Travis give closing words and prayer. And we invite you to be with us next week for Mantle Mondays. Thank you, Dr. Travis. And
Now,
God bless
before
you.
you dip out, I just want to publicly say thank you for being there. Thank you for being my listening ear. Thank you for being my cheerleader. Thank you for being my encourager and sometimes my pusher. Uh, as I go forward to do everything that you saw me doing 20 years ago. And so I thank you for that. And I love you so very much.
Love you too.
Okay. Now, what was I supposed to do? Come back. Closing prayer?
Closing remarks. Anything you just God put on your heart to say to the people. Sherina, you know how this goes. Whatever
See?
the Lord,
See? Okay. I'll finish.
whatever the Lord has placed on your heart to say to the people, and then close us out in prayer.
Okay. So thank you all for joining us tonight on Mantle Mondays. And thank you all for all of your congratulatory remarks. I appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for the community that we have here. And And I just want to say, seek to excel. Like, why settle? Why settle for mediocre? Why settle for less when God has so much more for all of us? And He has put plans in place for us to prosper. So seek to excel not only in things of this world. Yes, you can be the millionaire. Yes, you can be the doctor. Yes, you could be the lawyer. Yes, you could be the teacher. Yes, you could be the barber. Yes, you could be the electrician. Seek to excel. Seek. That's something that you continuously or continually do. That's not a one-time thing. Oh, I go out to go to class, or I go um to be an electrician, and then I'm denied, or I don't pass the class, so I stop. No, seek. You seek until you obtain it, and then you seek to obtain more. Not that you're greedy, but God has so much more for us. And why should we have to settle for less when He has called us to the best? So seek to excel. Seek to excel. And whatever you do and whatever you get in the secular world, let us not forget the house of God. Let us not forget the church. Let us not forget the saints of God. The church, the saints of God need real lawyers. The saints of God need accountants. The saints of God need barbers. The saints of God need educators. The saints of God need electricians. So whatever you do in that secular world, and whatever God has blessed you with, whatever gifts and talents He has blessed you with in the secular arena, make sure that you don't forget about the Lord who has blessed you with them, and you make sure you don't forget about His house. So seek to excel in His house as well, so that you can build up not only what's out there in the secular, but that you can build up those that are in the church and in those that are in the spiritual realm. So, Lord God, we thank you for this day. God, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for the community that we have. We thank you for the opportunity that you have given us. Thank you for Bishop Travis. And ask you to continue to bless him in all of his endeavors. Bless everybody that is watching, that they might be encouraged by something that was said or done. And ask you to continue to give us a drive that no matter how many no's that we might hear, no matter how many no's that may come our way, how many times that we may be declined or denied, I ask, Lord, that you would help us not to take no for an answer, but that we would be persistent, that we would be consistent, that we would be strategic in always coming to you and seeking you first, and knowing that all of the other things that we seek, all of the other things that we desire shall be added unto us if we just put you first. I ask you to bless us until we meet on our next appointed time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. I love you guys. And once again, thank you all and good night.
Looking to start a church, business, or nonprofit organization in 2022? Do you need help forming an LLC, applying for a copyright or trademark, revising church laws, crafting a succession plan, or developing a compensation package for your pastor and staff? Contact the law office of Sherina Travis, a Richmond-based legal boutique focused on the needs of pastors, entrepreneurs, creatives, and our community. Let's make your vision a reality in 2022. Visit TravellTravis.com. That's TravellTravis.com.